RadioWorks Sports Director Jared Rademacher here. Another segment of our online Coaches Corner program as we are going to catch up now with Worthington Trojan Girls Basketball coach Eric Lindner as the audio comes from a program I host on Worthington WGTN TV Channel 3 called the Worthington Area Sports Show. So the audio comes from that, and we'll pick up with right where we begin our conversation with Coach Lindner. Catching up now with Worthington Trojan Girls Basketball coach Eric Lindner. Coach, appreciate the time. How you doing?
Doing real well. Excited to be here and kind of in the middle of our season, so it's time to keep getting better and get ready for that tournament run.
Well, let's talk a little bit about how the season has gone so far. You opened up the year with 3 straight victories and a few losses and kind of got things going a little bit again right before holiday tournament play, which you did split up at St. Cloud Tech. So kind of through that first part of the year, Coach, what were some of your thoughts from the first part of the year?
The biggest thing for us is defensively. We really need to do a better job defensively, and I thought that as the games are going on, we're starting to kind of fine-tune things. We still have too many young mistakes, and one of the things that is nice about our team is we've got a lot of young kids, and there's a lot of learning that can be done. And our seniors, we try to get them to understand that to pass their knowledge on to these young kids when they're on the floor. So that's starting to come. I think offensively, also at the beginning of the season, we didn't score many points. And now you're seeing our scores go higher because the kids are getting more in the groove and they've had more reps. So it's good to see that happen.
I think reps is the big word. You really do have a young squad of talented kids, but some of these kids haven't played basketball for many years as well. So they're learning so much day by day and through every game. And like you said, now we're kind of starting to see them get a little more comfortable. It seems like maybe the game's starting to slow down for them a little bit, which, Coach, when you got those young athletes, the adrenaline's going, you get the excitement, and, they want to do so much so well that they kind of get going too fast, and that's where a lot of those young mistakes can kind of happen.
Yeah, and I think the thing about young kids is the repetitions are the most important thing, and understanding that mistakes are something that are going to happen, and they can't take it too seriously. And I think that's the one thing that they do sometimes is they're too critical of their game early. And, it's a tremendous burden to be out there as a ninth grader or a young kid or a sophomore. But if they have early success and we try to get them going early, it seems to help. And even playing a half of B squad helps them to kind of get in that mode to ready to play. So they're definitely getting a lot of basketball. They're definitely getting better as we go, and we just kind of keep hope they go in that direction.
Talking about some of the players, let's start with the seniors. Emily Schaefer's having a really good start to her senior season, especially kind of right around that tournament time. She was kind of starting to settle down with her jump shot, find her spots on the floor, if you will, and really was starting to hit some threes, which for this team is huge because it's her outside shooting that can open up that middle of the floor for, like a player like Emma Thuringer. Emma's game's more like about free throw line in where she can be really effective. So when Emily's kind of hitting, it can open things up for the other girls.
Yeah, and the biggest thing with Emily and I is to understand that a shooter is a shooter. And sometimes when you're not hitting your shots, she's always looking for a mechanical error. What am I doing mechanic-wise? But it's just, it's just a night where you're off a little bit. And when she's on, we're definitely a different basketball team. Because, like you say, if you can hit the outside shot, they got to concentrate and come out and guard you. And that gives us an opportunity to get the ball aside and at least move it a little bit. And she is adding dribble penetration to her game, which really does help. Adds another weapon to being able to attack the basket. And if they come out too hard, then you can take them off the dribble.
And I think what she learned off that, too, is just because dribble penetration doesn't mean you need to necessarily go right to the block. With her touch, hey, get around your defender, you pull up for a little 10-foot, 12-footer. That's a shot she can make every time.
And that's something that as a senior you'd expect them to learn, but that's something like we talked about with young kids. Once you pass that first line of defense, why continue in the second line of defense? Why don't you stop and take that 10-footer and take an uncontested shot rather than dribble into the trees and take a contested shot? And that's something that she's learned, and she's pretty solid from that free throw line in. And like you said with Thuringer's a penetrator, a hustler, gets a lot of layups and things like that. But her shot's looking a lot better in the last couple of weeks. Yeah. So we hope that continues.
Yeah, kind of get a little more confidence back in it. You can tell now, last year she had no problem kind of pulling up that 16 to 18 range. Another senior, Ametra Alwal. I thought Ametra Friday in the win against Redwood Valley. We'll talk about that game in a little more depth, but game where you kind of had the chance maybe first half to put away, didn't happen. Here comes Redwood, claws it back to 3, and I think Ametra really stepped up at that point and kind of had one of her best stretches of the year, played really well down the stretch in that win against Redwood.
Yeah, I think that, what we're trying to get from her is some level of consistency, is getting, what I talk to her about all the time is when you're on the floor, when the game is over, what am I going to see? What are those numbers? What should they look like? Turnovers, assists, score, those type of things, and developing some consistency. And that's the biggest thing for her, is getting out of this up and down. She can lead the team, but she's got to show the confidence to do that. And I thought she did down the stretch. She did a real nice job, especially when our, most of our kids are in foul trouble or we had some injuries. She did a good job leading us down the stretch. And basically it was a 3-point game with about 6 minutes left, and she was able to run the show and get us back to a 19-point lead at the end. So that was a good thing to see.
Kind of talking about some of this youth, players like Peyton Sauerbrei. Peyton's really kind of stepped up lately, and I mean, she's kind of turning that corner. And what she reminds me a lot of? Like Abby Landgard when she was a freshman. Abby kind of got thrown into it and had to really go through a lot. Peyton doesn't have that much burden, but we're starting to see her get more comfortable game by game about what's expected of her and where she can influence on a game, because it's not just scoring for a girl like Peyton. She does a good job of just understanding. She's got really good basketball IQ.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I like about her is she doesn't care who she passes the ball to, and she's very unselfish. And the thing I like about her game is as a point guard, she keeps going until she's stopped. And sometimes she never gets stopped. She goes all the way for a layup. And that's something that we're trying to get her more reps at a point guard, because we definitely like what she's doing for us. And defensively, she's one of those kids that we can count on to stay with her girl and do her job. With our older kids, sometimes our kids get over-aggressive, try to double team and leave a kid wide open. And Peyton's been one of those consistent. And she's, gone from playing in the beginning of the season 10 minutes to almost 24, 26 minutes, and that's a lot of minutes. But the thing I like about leaving her on the floor is I know what I'm getting. I have a level of consistency. I understand she's going to make some freshman mistakes, but I definitely think that she has turned the corner from being a contributor to being one of our players that can get some things done.
Trio of young ladies kind of helping with Annika Weg down low, but I thought played really well in Redwood. We've seen Rebecca Alwal have her moments this year. Longi Chan, I thought, played really well in Redwood. And Evelyn Otho. Evie came off the bench, and she looked really more kind of focused on Friday, and I thought she did a good job with her opportunities in Redwood on Friday.
Yeah, Evelyn probably has the quickest first step of any of our kids on the team. And that's one of the real advantages. When she catches at the high post, she's able to take her kid off the dribble almost immediately. And it's amazing how those kids can struggle in a B game, and then they look really good in a varsity game. So as a coach, you're trying to figure it out. But I think, like you said, with Rebecca, Alungi, and Evelyn, there's definitely there's a lot of potential there. We're just now trying to work on the discipline part of the game, is understanding, the commitment stuff, putting the time in, and those things. Because you can be an athlete and you can do a lot of things just being an athlete, but fine-tuning the shooting and the stuff, that's kind of what we're looking for those kids. And, we got AK coming off the bench and hit the first 3 I think I've ever seen her shoot, and we were all surprised. So now in practice, of course, every time she touches it, it's flying. But we've definitely got kids that contribute. And Annika's been solid for us all year. That hurts us being out tonight against Laverne, but she's averaging about 9.4 boards a game. And the thing about Annika is she has something you can't teach. It's that smart ability to know where that ball is coming off. And most of the time she's undersized in most of the matchups she has, but she's a real intelligent kid, and I really like how she plays the game and just looks at it, getting out of floor and an opportunity. She's coaching too on the game and just kind of getting what she sees to me, and then we get it out to the kids. So yeah, it's been a good combination. There's definitely some room for growth, but the element we look at is, are they playing hard? Are they doing things? If I'm watching the game, sometimes as a fan, I'm going, what's going on sometimes? But hey, that's youth.
Yeah.
Youth make mistakes, and they made some bad decisions. And you got to remember that most of these young kids, this is the first time that they've been in these type of situations.
Yeah.
And every matchup, every team we play brings a little different things to the table. So
For more to learn. Like you
Yeah.
said, getting those reps. Absolutely. Again, Trojan Girls in action Tuesday night here tonight in Laverne, and then at home, part of a girl-boy doubleheader starting at 6 against Wyndham on Friday. Talking with Trojan Girls Basketball coach Eric Lindner. Coach, we appreciate it. Good luck, and we'll see you at the gym.
yeah, thank you for supporting us all season, and we'll keep playing hard, and we'll see what happens here at the end of the year.